Good morning, everyone. First of all, let there be light. This looks spectacular. This is the new Penn Station, and we're just getting started. What a wonderful, uplifting experience, and we're here to talk about that today and how we got here. First of all, the man behind so many of the transformational projects related to Penn Station and the MTA overall. I want to thank Jano Lirr. You'll be hearing from him in a couple of minutes. Thank you, Jano. Catherine Rinaldi, the LIRR interim president, Metro North president. Thank you. And Jamie Torrey Springer, the MTA Construction Development Project as well. So thank you, everyone. You know I've not been shy in sharing my thoughts about Penn Station. It's not been my favorite place in New York. For too long, it hasn't provided the experience that the city and the state are deserving of. It's dark, it's dreary, depressing, confusing, cramped, and probably the opposite of everything that you would consider to be a comfortable, welcoming experience. And when you're stuck underground in these low ceilings and narrow passageways, it actually feels suffocating. Let me out, let me get some air, I need some light. And it doesn't make sense that the busiest transit hub in North America, in the Western Hemisphere, which had over 600,000 people daily before COVID coming through, more than all three airports combined, it wasn't right that that many people were subjected to those conditions. So, it's more than a transit hub, though. This is the beating heart of New York City. Tourists come from all over the world. This is their first exposure to New York State and America many times. And I know we could do better. So we are talking about making sure that the experience is extraordinary, but not just for the tourists, but for the commuters and the New Yorkers who come through here every single day. 60% of people who use Penn Station are New Yorkers. Those are our taxpayers. Because Penn Station is the crossroads, the trains, the subways, the buses that arrive and depart here. They connect us to each other. They connect us to our neighbors, our neighboring states. They connect us to the rest of the world. And they connect us to jobs, to healthcare, to education. And that's why my former boss, Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan, was right when he called the demolition of the beautiful structure known as Penn Station 60 years ago, he called it the greatest civic crime in New York history. Senator Moynihan, you were right. And that's why we are reviving Penn Station, making it world-class, the transit hub it always should be, because reviving Penn Station is the key to reviving New York. And the people who use Penn Station deserve no less. And so do the surrounding communities who benefit from the economic activity and the jobs that Penn Station fuels. So as soon as I became governor, I got to work because while it's always been a good idea to have a better Penn Station, and we know how critical it is, it just wasn't happening at the rate we thought it should. And we need people to start coming back. We need to have a good experience so the commuters, and welcome back commuters, come on back. We want this to be an extraordinary experience. And it could only happen if our infrastructure and the experience were up to meet our expectations. So today, Amtrak riders have the beautiful Moynihan Hall. New Jersey Transit riders have the beautiful Concourse at the Oculus. And now, just a little over a year since I became governor, we're finally gathered in a wider, brighter LIRR Concourse at Penn Station, and that's what we're announcing here today. This is glorious. We knocked down walls. We lifted the ceiling. So the whole thing, we doubled the width from 30 feet to 57 feet. We raised the ceilings to 18 feet. I mean, this is extraordinary. And we brought in natural light. You're starting to see my vision for the new Penn Station that takes us from the depths of hell so you can see the lights in the skies of heavens looking down upon us. And we're getting there, and it's starting in this concourse. So we've also added 9,500 square feet of LED ceiling lights, and my favorite words, on time and on budget. Yeah. So there we go. So the 200,000 Long Island Railroad riders who come through every day, as well as those transferring from Amtrak to the ACE 123 subway lines, you get a chance to walk through this concourse, not just shuffle along with your head down and feeling pretty depressed. Now you get to walk through and also imagine the great retail that's being built behind these walls and the whole experience. It's going to be so uplifting. And we're so excited about this. And I want to thank the extraordinary leadership, as I mentioned, the MTA leadership, the LIR leadership, as well as our partners in labor who built this, the long, long hour. Thank you. Thank you to the labor unions, the members who showed up during a pandemic. You showed up during a global pandemic, putting your lives in danger to make sure that New Yorkers and our visitors could have this gorgeous, wonderful experience. So I say, a better Penn Station is not just a good idea, it's already happening. And when this concourse is complete in the spring of 2023, we'll have improved air circulation. Yes, you don't suffocate, you can breathe good air. Enhanced accessibility, a new elevator entrance and 4 new elevators. That's so important for our communities. Better wayfinding. My gosh, how many times you got lost wandering through here? Look at the nice signs, they're gorgeous. And expanded retail and dining options. It's gonna be so great. You're not even gonna wanna go to work because you're gonna wanna stay in here all day, but make sure you get to your jobs. So with this new concourse, we're answering all the concerns that people have had, the complaints they've had about Penn Station for decades. We want people to gather here. We want this to be the highlight of your commute, not the most dreaded part of your commute. A couple other projects that we're working on to improve the commuting experience. We're going to finish this year, 3 major projects. The 3rd track on the main line was just out there. The Grand Central Madison, we were there not long ago. And for MTA, Amtrak, and Metro North riders, we're continuing to make the whole Penn Station experience extraordinary because this is the beating heart of New York City. As you know, we've announced it'll be a single level train hall, sunshine, natural light, and a 460-foot atrium and skylight. You think this is great? Imagine 460 feet upward. It is going to be downright heavenly. So with all these changes and no underground mazes, we're going to have a beautiful experience here, but also improving the local community. This is so important to me. More affordable housing, more underground connections to the subway stations, more green spaces for people to recreate, and more jobs, something we're all so proud of. So today, we're literally raising the roof on Penn Station, literally and figuratively. We're one step closer to making this be a world-class transit hub and making New York City not just a more livable city, but even more lovable city. How about that? We're righting the wrongs of the past, we're paving the way of the future, and I am very excited about this project. Congratulations to everyone who made this happen. This is extraordinary. Jan Lirr, take it away.
Thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you for your leadership on everything to do with Penn Station and so much more. Listen, you quoted Senator Moynihan. I just remind all of us of the famous architectural historian Vincent Scully, what he said about this when this Penn Station was built and demolished the original one, which he said, one enters the city before like a god, now one scuttles in like a rat. Scully was right. And today we're here to celebrate a milestone in the effort to do something about it. We're opening a space in Penn Station, finally, that's more fit for humans than rodents. This improved concourse is urgently needed, as any regular Penn customer knows. For more than 50 years, the low ceilings, the narrow corridors have been giving Long Islanders claustrophobia. The signage and the wayfinding make it feel like we're trying to keep North America's busiest transportation facility a secret. And the lousy track information displays have people clustered in large groups waiting under one big board for a last-minute stampede to get to the track. That's no good. Compare that with what this project delivers. The 18-foot illuminated ceiling all along the east-west corridor, the doubling in width that you see behind me and behind the governor. Track information signage on every one of these columns. People can spread out. They can shop. They can get something to eat and have visibility to when track assignments are being made. That is a complete game changer. A new high visibility entrance on 7th Avenue. with a bank of escalators whisking people directly down to the Long Island Railroad level here, rather than forcing you to come through Amtrak land on a circuitous route. That was one of the things that frustrated people the most. And all those new elevators and signage and wayfinding that just are the basics of a modern transportation facility. Governor Hochul is opening Long Island, the LaGuardia Airport, making progress at JFK Airport. We're creating modern transportation facilities all over. Now, this project's going to be complete in a few months, but as important as it is, I just want to mention a couple of those other projects that the governor alluded to. This is part of 3 transformational projects that are creating a modern Long Island Railroad. The other 2 are Grand Central Madison and the Main Line Third Track project, which, as the governor said, are both opening this year. Indeed, 2022 is shaping up as literally the most transformational year in Long Island Railroad history. The dream of Long Island Railroad service to Grand Central that people have been talking about for 100 years, it's true. It's happening with a brand new station, which is the largest railroad facility in the United States built since the 1950s. It's going to bring Long Island commuters to the center of East Midtown, which is the center of the highest value jobs in our economy. Together with Third Track, the Grand Central Madison project is going to enable a 40% increase in Long Island Railroad service. We kept service going right through the pandemic, even in the darkest days. God bless the workers of the Long Island Railroad and the MTA. And now we're going to give even more service to Long Islanders, even more options and reverse commuting, which is essential to the Long Island businesses who want to draw on the big talent pool that the New York area has to offer. We didn't have reverse commuting before at meaningful volumes. Now we will. Big shout out to Kathy Rinaldi, the path-breaking first ever leader of both the Long Island Railroad and Metro North, the first woman to occupy either of those positions. She's leading Long Island Railroad through this epic year of change while also maintaining historically high levels of on-time performance. That's what Long Islanders want. That's what they deserve. But as big as all these improvements are, as big as 2022 is, there's much more to do. And we're determined that the Long Islanders who are going to keep coming to Penn, even after Grand Central Madison opens, they shouldn't feel like this facility is Grand Central's stepsister, neglected stepsister. So soon after she took office, the governor announced plans to totally transform Penn into a kind of modern, spacious, first-class, single-level terminal awash in natural light. And now we are moving forward with Governor Hochul's plan. We celebrated a couple of weeks ago with Mayor Adams and the governor of New Jersey that progress, and very soon we're going to be announcing the design team that is going to bring this project to the point of construction. We're working closely with the New York delegation, as always, led by Senator Schumer, on strategies for landing federal funding. So we'll be fully ready to build that construction. Now, there is good reason for urgency with Governor Hochul's plan to rebuild Penn Station totally, because in a few short years, Metro North customers are going to start coming in here thanks to that amazing Metro North to Penn project, which is building 4 new stations in the Bronx and is going to bring everybody on the New Haven line right into Penn if they want to come to the west side of Manhattan. As the governor has said, fix Penn now. Fix Penn now. It's gone on too long. This is the beginning. Fix Penn fully. I also want to acknowledge the MTA folks, construction and development, led by Jamie Torres Springer, who bringing in this project, as the governor said, on time and on budget. We started a couple of years using the motto, faster, better, cheaper, to signify our determination to change how the MTA delivers capital project. And this project, and so many others, Third Track among them, on time, on budget, the L train, on time, under budget, are showing that it's happening. And the work is being done innovatively. The project crews on this team, Skanska, the unionized construction trades, figured out how to remove the structural roof right here including beams that dated back to the original Penn Station, to redo an entire sewer line, to move all the utilities around, to support the new roof with a secondary structure to bear the load of Madison Square Garden and the street above, all without interrupting activity in Penn. Incredible engineering, ingenuity, well done. And they kept going right through the pandemic, working safely, showing up every day. That's why we ran service at high levels, not just for the hospital workers and the pharmacy workers and the grocery workers, for the construction workers of New York who never stopped coming to work. God bless you. Thank you for what you did. The result is what you see around you, a human Penn Station that we can all be proud of. This is only the beginning. Thank you, Governor Hochul, for your leadership.
All right, that is our announcement for today. We'll be back again in a few more weeks with more announcements, but for now, any questions from the media?
Governor, off topic, did want to ask you about over the weekend, your opponent Lee Zeldin held a fundraiser with the former president, Donald Trump. Polls show he's very unpopular in New York State. What's your take on him kind of cozying up to the former president in this campaign?
That's just something he'll have to explain to the voters of New York. That's not going to go well. People in New York understand our values, and Donald Trump never has and never will represent them. And to the extent that my political opponent wants to be so closely associated and rely on him for the resources, it's troubling, but it's something that the voters, I guarantee, will be taking close note of.
Yes, thanks, Governor,
Hi, Andrew.
and maybe for Jano as well. Not to rain on anyone's parade here, but I do see a leak in front of the podium here with the ceiling here, and also anyone back here can still see all the exposed beams on the other half of the corridor here. So just to clarify for us, are you opening half of the corridor today, the whole corridor?
Okay.
And why celebrate this milestone now when no retail is open and the full corridor itself is not open yet?
Do you notice a difference here? Have you been through here lately? The sky is open. These are now 18-foot ceilings, but I'll let Jano answer. That's actually condensation. It's not leaking from the roof.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, as we said, the project still has a couple months to go. Part of that is balancing the air conditioning system. We're pumping in 100,000 CFM of air. Penn Station, no secret, did not have proper ventilation. We're fixing that. Part of that is balancing the air conditioning system. That's why you're seeing a little condensate. It's not leaking. But we just want, the reason we're celebrating is that Long Islanders are coming out of their trains and seeing a very different experience. This is what they've been waiting for, and it was time to make sure that that was acknowledged, because it's a complete transformation. People are coming out of their trains and wondering where they are. It's that different.
Just as a quick clarification, the height now 18, what is it just to your right over there? What's the old height?
Well, that's all going to be brought up to the same 18-foot level. It's just that we have to complete the construction in that zone. It's obviously a two-stage operation.
Question for either of you. Jano, I hear you talk a lot about the 40% increase in service on the Long Island Railroad. Some people have looked at those numbers and thought they're a little disingenuous. If you compare it to the pre-COVID schedules, the increase is a lot more modest. And on a lot of lines, it'll be fewer trains. Maybe it's one extra train in the morning. So can you talk about that number and how you come about it? And the other issue that I've heard from folks is that some commutes are going to get longer, especially as you add some stops in Queens.
Listen, the bottom line here is we're going from roughly 650 trains to I'll get you the exact number, but it's 930 or 940 trains. That's the significant increase. And you're seeing it, if you're on the platform in Jamaica, you're going to see frequencies going into the city in the morning that are like the Lexington Avenue subway, just a dramatic increase in frequency. So we're working with, there are one or two areas, definitely, Queens is definitely getting more service. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. There are areas like Douglaston and Bayside, so on, that depend on Long Island Railroad, and there's enough service to go around. We're working with, the one or two areas, it's no secret, we've got a discussion going with the Port Washington folks about how we can expand that yard so we can give them even more service. That is our plan, but the big picture is a lot more service, reverse commuting, a lot more convenience, especially for people who are going to East Midtown, are going to save 40 minutes a day. Don't forget about that.
Governor, last week you seemingly joyously signed off on a $2 billion increase to the cost of the Gateway program. Obviously includes the expansion and overhaul of this station and that project, and it's going to largely benefit New Jersey riders. Meanwhile, Governor Murphy is in New Jersey using his bully pulpit to lobby against congestion pricing. So 2 parts here. Are you concerned that Murphy might sink the launch of congestion pricing or delay it? And are you at all concerned with the cost increases to the Gateway program and what that might do to the pot of federal money available for New York projects?
No, the reason to alert the fact that inflation has gone up everywhere, and certainly one would fully expect it to have an impact on cost estimates that were arrived at 1 year ago, and we've seen an increase in inflation. So what we wanted to do is get those numbers out there early so we can bolster our arguments to the federal government for a larger share. That's exactly why it was important to get those numbers out now, to put that on the plate of the administration and say, yes, prices have gone up, we're going to need more, but we're going to stay on track and get this done. I'm not concerned about getting us sidetracked from our responsibility to make sure that we have a funding source, a dedicated funding source to make sure we can make all the improvements we need so our transportation system receives the investments that are long overdue, that are necessary to propel us continuing into the 21st century. As more people are coming to New York in this post-pandemic era, we need to be able to accommodate this. The visitors are starting to come back. Workers from other parts of the country are starting to come here. So I'm not concerned about being sidetracked. We've been doing it with a lot of consultation, engagement from the local communities. This is important as all the stakeholders are having a chance to be heard on this, and so we're going to move forward.
Hi, Governor. There are only 9 weeks left before the election. Why haven't you responded to Lee Zeldin's request for 5 debates across the state? And when and where are you willing to debate him?
I've already said I'm willing to debate. I always debate. This is my 14th election. I actually look forward to debates. It's going to happen.
Can I add something? Sure. I hope when the debate comes around, we'll be talking about the fact that Zeldin alone among New York regional Republicans didn't vote for the infrastructure bill. We're here celebrating infrastructure. That is a concern to us especially, who are trying to rebuild the MTA and the transit system. So I hope that's going to be part of the debate.
Governor, in the Bronx, there have been environmental justice advocates. Representative Richie Torres they've raised some concerns about the effects that congestion pricing could have in terms of increased truck traffic. They've also put together a pretty serious set of demands that they're asking for mitigation efforts. Have you looked at them? Have you talked to Representative Torres about them? Are you prepared to make any kind of plan or offer so that we can, with a year to go before congestion pricing starts, this doesn't sit over everything?
I think you've hit on exactly what our community engagement is all about. We want to hear from people like the congressman. He's been involved with our staff. He supports congestion pricing overall, but to the extent that he's identified areas of concern, we're addressing them. Absolutely. It's an important part of the conversation. Anything else to add? Okay.
Hey, Governor. I've got 2 for you. First off, you mentioned we're in a post-pandemic world. Have you any plans to get rid of the mask mandate in transit? And then secondly, Jan Oliver has been talking a lot about getting a new funding stream from the state for MTA to stave off up to $2.5 billion deficit. Do you plan to do that this upcoming session?
Well, I'm not going to talk about what's going to go on next year's budget at this point, but certainly we're looking at the needs of the MTA very seriously. This is the lifeblood of New York. It's the lifeblood of the nation. We have to keep it strong. With respect to masks, it's absolutely in conversation right now, and we'll be talking about making some announcements on that very shortly. Thank you. Thank you.